The Kearney Board of Aldermen meeting. Call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So, do you have a chance to take roll?
I have taken roll. Everyone is present. You have the quorum.
Thank you. We'll move on to public hearings and personal appearances this evening. First item on the agenda this evening is a public hearing to receive public comments regarding an application made by MPG Real Estate Holdings LLC to rezone 37.08 acres from G General Commercial District and M Industrial District to CP General Commercial Plan District and MP Industrial Plan District for the proposed Kearney Crossing preliminary plat. The property is located along the north side of West 92 Highway at Bennett Boulevard. If you wish to speak for or against the proposed application, we'll have you come forward to the podium and state your name and address for the record. The floor is open for public comment or input. Seeing nobody move, I will close the floor. Next item is a public hearing to receive public comments regarding an application made by Mako Development Company, LLC, to rezone 9.828 acres from C General Commercial District to RP3 Medium Density Residential Plan District for a proposed 42-unit senior garden apartment project. The property is located along the north side of West 92 Highway between Nation Road to the east and Victory Lane to the west. If you wish to speak for or against the proposed application, have you come forward to the podium and state your name and address for the record. The floor is open for public comments and inputs.
They told me I had to go first, though. I have some pictures. You want me to hand these to y'all?
Yeah, you feel free to.
And this will come later on in my presentation. This is one of them I do have.
Thank you.
I think I have an extra one for you. Would you like to see one? David, would you like one? Okay. I'm going to pass this one around here for y'all to see. I only have one, so let me find it. Anyway, again, my name is Scott Stubler. I live at 1909 Joe Lane. I've been in Oakwood Estates and in Kearney since 2020. Me and my wife moved up here. When we first purchased our home, I have a couple things I want to talk on, and the first one is water pressure. When we first moved up here, the water pressure in our house was 76. Today it's 62. What I ask of you all and of our water department is what has brought on the sudden decrease of water pressure? And I touch on that is because with all the growth west of Nation Road to include this 55 and older community, what is that going to tax on our water department? What's it going to tack on our pressure? How's that going to affect that? And what is Kearney going to do to combat that? Those are my concerns with that. What I also want to talk about is the 55 and older community. I think it's needed. I think it's warranted. Do I feel it's warranted where it's at? In my opinion, no. And here's why. As you see in your pictures, you have a picture that says A and B. A starts out at 14815 92 Highway, which is a blind hill right there on 92, just west of Victory Lane. B is about that gravel road. Now I'm just stating this, that could be where the entrance to that new 55 and older could be. It may be further east, I don't know. So I did some calculations. That's about 1,240 feet. A vehicle driving 55 miles an hour is going to hit from A to B in about 15.66 seconds. And how I know that is my wife is driving in my passenger seat, hit the timer when I hit that blind hill and stopped it at that gravel road. Now at 65, that drops it down to 14.07 seconds. Now we all know that's a 55 mile an hour zone. How many people drive 5 miles an hour down there? I see it every day. Now, directly across from that Victory Lane, if anybody wants to drive out there, there's a 45-mile-an-hour speed limit sign that's been knocked down. Now, a friend of mine, her and her daughter were in a car stop making a left-hand turn, and a truck pulling a trailer popped that hill. Instead of hitting that car, killing maybe the mom and the daughter, they hit that ditch and took out that sign. So, what I want to get at is, as we get older, I'm 57 years old. My get up and go, my reaction time is a lot less. We all know that as we get older, our reaction time get less, our challenges get better. I know this because my dad just turned 93 and we had to revoke his driving license because he could not pass the test for the state. Now, take a 77-year-old pulling out on the 92, whether going east, going west, and a car pops that hill, a truck pops that hill, or a semi pops that hill doing 55, 60 miles an hour. What's the reaction? Now, my wife drives a Nissan Rogue. She probably can stop that car pretty quick. Me pulling a Dodge Ram, probably not as quick. Me pulling my boat with a Dodge Ram, my stop time's gonna be less. A semi topping that hill, good luck, good luck. So, what I ask, I know the developer stated already that, the demand is there. We know it. But let me ask you this. What are those homes going for? I don't know, 300,000. Is that a price to put on a life? I don't think so. Let me ask you this. I would not put my dad out there. He's 93. I'll drive to Liberty every day and take him where he needs to go. Would I love to have him up there? Yes. But he's not driving, so I would be okay with it. But how would you all feel with your parents if they're still alive? And if they're not, I apologize. But how would you feel about, and how comfortable would you be with your parent pulling out left or right at a blind hill? Not knowing what's coming over that hill. I do it every day. And I'm telling you, if you're not on that gas, those cars are on you in a hurry. So, what is the price that developer is willing to put on a human life? There's no price. So what I ask of you all tonight is, consider this simple question. Take our considerations in before you make your decisions. The decision may be already made, and that's okay. And if it's not, I hope you guys take in a little bit of consideration of what I talk about and what others might talk about in this meeting. As you deliberate this proposal, I encourage you to consider all the safety implications that come along with this. I know we're building a brand new fire station out there, but it's probably going to keep them pretty busy. I hear them going by every day, whether it's going to Plattsburgh Road or going to Smithfield to help them out, but it's going to bring on further things. It may not be now, but look at the future of what it could possibly be. There are no turn lanes going into Oakwood Estates. There's no turn lanes, and I didn't see one on there on last Monday for a turn lane going into that 55 and older subdivision. We're putting potentially your parents, my parents, our kids' parents, grandparents at risk to put this addition out there. Now, I believe it's warranted. Don't get me wrong, I'm not against it, but would you want your parents turning out left to have to go to Price Chopper clear across town? Is it really the right place to have that? You guys might say yes, I may say no, but I'm here to get sold on this, and that is your guys' job to sell me on this, and I just hope you guys take our considerations in tonight and think hard about making that decision, put that 55 and older community there. I don't think it's safe. I just don't want to put anybody's life at risk, whether it's mine pulling out or any one of you guys' parents or grandparents pulling out. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Is there anybody else that would wish to speak?
I'm Sean Flanning. I'm at 1906 Joe Lane, just down the street from him. So just taking into consideration a couple things. National Transportation Safety Board with the number of entrances onto a busy highway. And you guys are adding, how many houses north of our estate there? Where that traffic's gonna increase, so along with the safety, it's a big deal. Additionally, I believe our builder that owns the property was adding houses in our area was denied permits from you folks to add additional housing because of the amount of traffic coming out of our entrance. Well, that's interesting, since you're gonna have 44 concentrated with 2 entrances just too far apart. That seemed a little inconsistent with
your previous ruling on that gentleman, in fact, you wanted him to put in a roundabout or something like that, west of there. I'm just saying, you're adding a lot of traffic there, and Kearney's growing in that direction. Not certain for senior folks, that's a good spot, and certainly isn't good for the Oakwood Estates folks. That increased traffic with an additional entrance right there. I mean, a lot of people have significant issues getting in and out of there at times. Like Scott mentioned, they don't really slow down from that 55 to 45 sign. Anyways, that's all I got to say. Please consider it, but I think you ought to be consistent with your previous rulings on that as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh.
My name is Jason Smith, and I live at 404 Anthony Circle. And I want to second what these two gentlemen just said. I travel 92 every day to and from work, and not just that area, but 92 is very dangerous with the blind hills everywhere. But there's times where I spend 5 minutes just waiting to turn out of my neighborhood. So I think that it's a very high traffic area, and I do see the safety risk. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you for being here as well. Is there anybody else that would wish to? Go ahead, sir.
Good evening, Mayor Hogan, the members of the board. My name is Justin Ellis, and my wife's 6-year-old daughter and I live at 1902 Victory Lane in Oakwood Estates. It's the very first house right there on the right past the community pool. Our backyard is about 25 yards away from the property that Mako Development wants to rezone from general commercial to that low density or medium density housing rather. The Planning and Zoning Commission obviously recommended approval, and I'm asking you to deny it. This is about the quality of life and neighborhood compatibility. The area north of West 92 between Nation Road and Victory Lane, it's all single family residential. Oakwood Estates, Cottonwood Creek, and the other homes along Victory Lane, it's just an established character of neighborhood. A multi-family apartment complex is fundamentally incompatible with the houses, single family houses that are there now. Those of us who live next to the site will permanently lose the quiet, privacy, and residential atmosphere we bought and invested in when we purchased our house about 2.5 years ago. Construction disruption, increased traffic, an increase of vehicles, exterior lighting, and ongoing presence of a multi-unit facility will change that quality of life for people like me and the people who already live there. These are lasting impacts, not temporary ones. This also threatens property values. Homes in this area were purchased with the reasonable expectation that the surrounding land use would remain single family consistent with what it is now. Placing apartments 25 yards away from a single family residence introduces a use that is out of character and can hurt resale value and marketability. Any public benefit from additional senior units on this specific site is far outweighed by the lasting harm of the quality of life, safety, and property values of the homeowners who already live there. West 92 is a 55-mile-per-hour highway like they'd already spoke to before. Adding another entrance right next to Victory Lane and near the Nation Road roundabout will increase traffic volume significantly and create real safety risk for the residents turning on and off the highway in what has been a quieter residential use area. The comprehensive plan designates this frontage as a commercial corridor. Rezoning it removes commercial potential from a high visibility highway location. The same developer has already built nearly 100 senior units in Kearney. We're not an island here in Kearney. We have other municipalities close by that can pick up the demand of the senior housing until we find an appropriate spot for the senior housing. I'm not saying that it's not needed here in Kearney, but the location is not where it should be. Like I said, I'm not opposed to that senior housing. I'm opposed to putting it 25 yards away from existing single-family homes in a neighborhood that was never designed for it. You are the final decision makers. Please protect our quality of life, the single-family character, and the property values of the residents who currently live there now. Please deny this rezoning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do that in a minute. Good evening, my name is Kaylee Ellis. Like my husband said, we live at 1902 Victory Lane with our 6-year-old daughter that's getting some snacks over there. But I would like to bring to your guys' attention, like you said, our backyard is only about 25 yards from the property you guys are being asked to rezone. I'm here because that decision not only impacts our home, but it impacts our subdivision as well as the surrounding subdivisions in the area. And that is a place that we all call home every day. I ask you please to look at this location for your guys' selves. Drive the area, like Scott and our other fellow residents have said, the speed limit's 55, but there's a 45 sign laying on the side of the road because someone hit it the other day, trying to prevent a fatality. Sorry, trying to make sure I get off points here. All right, so looking along at the homes in Victory Lane and the quiet streets of Oakwood Estates, you'll see a single-family residential neighborhood, and what's being proposed doesn't really belong in that section. It's incompatible with the fabric of our area. At the planning and zoning meeting, the developer did state that on average, with their developments, there would be less than 1 car per apartment. That claim actually makes the location worse, as Scott has already stated this evening. There are no stores, there's no services, there's no amenities within walking distance, and West 92 Highway has no sidewalks and it is not lit at all. Residents would have no safe way to walk anywhere and be forced to drive for every need that they have, whether that is Price Chopper, gas, or maybe they just want to go out and enjoy a meal with their family. Adding more traffic onto Highway 92 at that 55 mile per hour speed limit with a new entrance right next to our neighborhood and that Nation Road roundabout. That's not necessarily a suitable and safe location in my opinion, as well as my husband's opinion. There is a demand for senior housing. Like he said, we are not an isolated community like Cameron and they have no other option. Senior apartments already exist in Kearney. Additional choices are available in the surrounding areas. But with that being said, there is time to think about an appropriate and better suited place for these senior apartments. We need it, absolutely, but is this the best location? Especially, like Scott said, with the aging adult, reaction time's slow. That is across the board. It doesn't matter what ethnicity you are from, or what ethnicity you are, where you're from, anything like that. It's just part of life. So we need to take that into account. We also need to take into account that there are children learning to drive in this area. What is that going to do to them if there is an accident? I would hate to have even my child, granted she's only 6 right now, but one day she will drive. I would hate to have a death on her shoulders because of a highway like this. This is also an out-of-area developer seeking to maximize return on a parcel. I understand business. We all have some sort of understanding, right? But the people who live there with the daily consequences are the family who already live here, and the ones who will lose the quiet, the privacy, and sense of safety we currently have. I'm not asking you to be against senior housing. I'm asking you to stand with the people who already call this neighborhood home. Please protect the character of this area, the safety of our streets, and the quality of life for the families who live here. Please deny this rezoning and really think if what your decision is doesn't align with your 4 values that are on your wall. Thank you.
Thank you. David, do we have anybody online?
Well, the applicant is online,
Okay.
Dan Sanders. He has turned his mic on, it looks like.
Yes,
Would the applicant like the floor?
yes, my name is Dan Sanders. Mako Development Company, our corporate address is 111 North Main Street, Clarkton, Missouri. And we're requesting rezoning of this approximate 9.82 acre site located east of Victory Lane on the north side of Highway 92. We are requesting RP3 plan to build 42 single-story apartments restricted to seniors, similar to the design to two other senior developments that we have constructed recently, Eastwood Apartments and Oak Ridge Estates. Oak Ridge Estates was completed in the early 2020s. Eastwood Apartments was completed in the early 2010s. They both stay fully occupied. They both maintain waiting lists for additional apartments when available. Currently, Oak Ridge Estates has a waiting list of 75, and Eastwood Apartments has a waiting list of 43. And now I'd like to introduce Kyle Miller, Crockett Engineering, the engineer for this development, to explain the rezoning request in further detail.
Yeah, thank you, Dan. Like Dan said, my name is Kyle Miller with Crockett Engineering, be the civil engineer on this project. So here for you tonight for the preliminary plat as well as the zoning request change from the commercial to the RP3 medium density residential. So as it's been mentioned tonight, we are requesting that downgrade in zoning from that commercial development to residential. As you all are probably aware, all of the open lots and corridor along the Highway 92 corridor from the Oakwood Estates our Oakwood subdivision down 292 are all currently zoned commercial. So one of these days I would anticipate, unless they were to be rezoned as well, that would all be commercial throughout that corridor. It would be our opinion that the land use would match more with the current subdivisions than it would be if it were commercial for this particular development. It would have more of the same usage that all would be residential, as well as a more similar zoning from that to that R1 to just an R3. Additionally, this project does meet the 2016 Kearney Comprehensive Plan that promotes both adequate residential density and a balanced mix of such. That plan encourages specifically senior housing in the general area. A couple other things I want to touch on is landscape buffer. I know that has been brought up, the proximity. There is a stream that goes through this development right now. Anything on the north side of that stream is going to remain as is. There'll be no disturbance. All those trees and all those existing vegetation will remain in place to help create that buffer. Right now on the west side of the property, what backs up right to this piece of land is a residential community pool. So we don't have any homes that back up directly to the property line. Secondly, all the utilities are already at the site. There's no additional long extensions that's going to be required. So all the utilities are already there. That would help some of the long-term maintenance costs for the city. In regards to stormwater, we will meet all stormwater requirements. We will be doing our calculations to make sure we meet the city of Kearney's and water quality and detention calculations and reduce that peak flow. And then lastly, specifically in regards to traffic, I know this has been heavily brought up multiple times, and so we just want to make sure we touch on that real quick. Like Dan said, and it has been mentioned, this is a 55 plus community. So what we find with 55 plus is there's a lot less traffic than you would see in an R1 subdivision or even in a regular multifamily development. You also don't see those peak hour times. You don't have everyone leaving for work at the same time or getting home at the same time in this type of development. That helps your overall traffic flow. Another thing to keep in mind is Highway 92 is a MoDOT roadway and their corridor. The developer, even the city, there's just no jurisdiction on that roadway when it comes to speed limits or connections. However, we have had those conversations with MoDOT, and we do have their preliminary approval for the driveway in the location as shown. So we have been working with them and coordinating with them and have that preliminary approval. And I know we passed that along to David, the city as well. We have plans to make sure our sidewalk goes from one side of the property to the other, west side to the east side. So there will be a sidewalk that gets extended along the entire frontage of the development as well to help with the connectivity. So in short, this project is similar zoning and similar usage to the surrounding area. It follows the city's comprehensive plan, will conform to all city requirements, and also comes tonight before you with staff approval, recommendation, as well as unanimous P&Z approval. Be happy to answer any other questions you might have.
Thank you. Would anybody else wish to speak for or against the proposed application? Seeing nobody move, I will close the floor for public comment and input. Next item is a National Radio Day proclamation. Brian Watts, the general manager of our hometown radio station, 102.7 FM, is here with his team. Sheila, if I could turn it over to you, we'll read the proclamation, Brian, if that's okay, present it, and then we're happy to give you guys opportunity to share a message too.
A proclamation recognizing 102.7 FM KPGZ as Kearney's hometown radio station and August 20th, 2026 as Hometown Radio Day in Kearney, Missouri. Whereas local radio serves as an important source of information, communication, and community connection for residents of Kearney. And whereas 102.7 FM KPGZ has dedicated itself to providing local news, weather information, community event coverage, public service announcements, and Bulldog sports broadcasts that inform and engage citizens throughout our community. And whereas local radio plays a vital role in promoting civic involvement, highlighting community achievements, supporting charitable organizations, and helping residents stay informed about matters affecting their daily lives. And whereas local businesses who support makes hometown radio possible contribute to the economic vitality and quality of life enjoyed by residents of Kearney. And whereas hometown radio strengthens community pride by celebrating local people, local events, local traditions, and the unique character of our city. And whereas National Radio Day is observed annually on August 20th to recognize the enduring value and impact of radio broadcasting throughout the United States. Now therefore, I, Randy Pogue, Mayor, do hereby proclaim 102.7 FM KPGZ as Kearney's hometown radio station and August 20th as Hometown Radio Day in the city of Kearney, and encourage all residents to recognize and celebrate the important role local radio plays in informing, connecting, and strengthening our community.
Congratulations. Can we present to you the original proclamation and get a photo opportunity, and then give you the floor?
Yeah, that'd be
All right, awesome. Would the board be willing to join me, please?
Yes.
Thanks.
Colleen.
Right here is Stacy and Jen, Hillary, Mr. Stephen, everybody's here, but here is our original proclamation that will always be.
Hold on. Can one of you do that for Monica so she can join you? No, I don't need to be in it. I'm just, I tried. It's okay, thank you, Debbie.
Here, move this way, thank you.
You don't want appliance. You got a face for radio.
That's our job.
That's right.
Appreciate all you guys do.
That was my forehead. There you go.
Well, thank you all very much. We appreciate it. This is, it's going to be our 10th year in Kearney, and what a ride it's been. So we started off really small, and we got really big, and we're proud to do it. So on behalf of our board of directors, I would like to present to the city of Kearney this community partner recognition for what you guys have done for us. And because every time I come calling, I get an alderman to come to the station to do an interview. I get the mayor to come to the station to do an interview. I get answers from Sheila. I get the police chief to come to the station to do an interview. So every time I come calling to the city for help or for questions or anything I need, I always get a fast answer and always get a yes, I will be there. So thank you so much for your support and participation. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Brian. And and Jim. Very kind of you guys. I'll share, really appreciate everything the radio station does for Kearney and appreciate you guys covering everything Kearney. So as communities, the media looks different than it did, even 5-10 years ago, but it's special to have a local news outlet, radio station here in Kearney, and we're proud to have you guys. So thank you very much for all you do.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda this evening, and if you guys would like to stay here, you're welcome to stay for the entirety of the meeting, or I'm sure you have radio things to do. Now would be a good time to excuse yourself.
Jim wants to have a board meeting.
Put aside some autographs. There you go.
Thank you guys very
Yes,
much.
thank you. Jason Hoyt, the Kearney Enrichment Council Board President, is here this evening to discuss 2 grant requests. Mr. Hoyt.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you all. Appreciate it. One thing I'd like to start out with, and this has nothing to do with the request today, it's just some things that we've gotten accomplished in the last couple of months. So we have got our granting back from Mid-American Regional Council to take care of the senior center, both for the Meals on Wheels and for the transportation services. They did increase it a little bit, but nothing major. And then we also did get our 2 grants from Clay County Senior Services, which also takes care of administration, but then travel and moving the seniors around, as well as their lunches that they have every day at the senior center.
Great.
So that stuff's taken care of, one thing off our plate. And then, so at the firehouse, as we spoke the last time, we were talking about canopy and Camp Canopy and everything. It actually went very well. We're back up to where we were pre-COVID. We've got over 55 kiddos signed up in there with between 26 and 30 there every day. So it is Debbie brought it back and made it viable again. And we think we're gonna have more and more people because there's still people signing their kids up for the end of this week. So they've been coming since the beginning of June. So we've gained kiddos every time. But that's one thing. And our tech cafe is starting to get seniors coming into that, which we've moved to the senior center again, or since we moved it back to the firehouse. We do have seniors that are coming in there asking for help and such, so we'll have to take care of that with probably an employee here pretty soon, but that's a good thing. It's never a bad thing to have seniors coming over there and get that stuff taken care of. But, okay, so why I'm really here. The first thing we need to look at is the Kearney 15th Annual Jim Bach Memorial Oktoberfest. And I think you guys have the budgets as well as a line item breakdown in there also. We have broken these things down. Jennifer's done an excellent job breaking these things down because we want to make sure that we're being as crystal clear to you all as we have not done for the last couple of years. So you can see that what we're asking for is $49,000. That dollar amount can change a little bit. It did come off from last year. Last year I think it was 54. But we're trying to expand without expanding too quickly so that we're not overgrowing the area and everything like that, or having things so spread out that nobody sees sides of the event, which the way we have it now, we would have everything staying on that side of 33, on the west side of 33, but we would need Washington Street again, and that is for the sole reason, if we can get these, that we may have 3 carnival rides there as well. They're smaller ones, they're like the teacups that spin and things like that, nothing too crazy, but with the inflatables that are there, the rock climbing wall that we're bringing back that we had there at Splash of Summer, and that those were very positive things, and everybody loved having that stuff there. So adding 3 carnival type rides takes up way too much room to have them anywhere near that park. So that'll all be taken care of before this next Oktoberfest meeting. We have meetings every Thursday. But we just gotta find out if we can still get to them after we discuss everything with you all. But if you go through everything, it is broken down pretty much however you'd expect as a regular budget. But then when you get into the direct and indirect expenses, that's where it gets a little more so. Just for the biggest part of our expenses, and these are direct expenses. If you go to the 4th page, But the biggest part, okay, we actually have the bands, which that's about right, but then you start seeing another stage coming in. We're not going to buy a $15,000 stage like we used to. This is going to be in a little bit different area, but then you see the carnival rides, the rock climbing wall, yard games, bounce houses, and everything like that. So what we're thinking about doing this year, we're gonna make it a little different. We're trying to find the best way to lay it out for our vendors and for everyone. But Washington Street could be where the inflatables / carnival rides are. And next year, if we could expand into a bigger carnival, we could actually look at that also, you know, keeping it to one side of the street. Then you have the walkway that's behind Shanks and over here by Pence's and everything. That's gonna be where your food truck type things, because they can drive down in there. So that's gonna be a walkway with your food trucks in there. The actual big stage, the stage that's on this, that is actually gonna be right at Shanks's. It's gonna be on the east side of Shanks's parking lot is where that'll be. And then we're going to do, or we're hoping to do, a 40 by 60 tent, which the Knights of Columbus will be underneath and everything like that. So we'll kind of create a beer garden type idea. And then we'll have vendors, of course, going up and down the street on 2nd Street, and then all the play in the park like usual. And then we're gonna use the small gazebo / amphitheater, whatever you call it there. We're calling that a second stage, well, it won't be. We're going to have speakers out there. We're gonna have AV equipment for 320 to do their dancing for the robotics again. We are working with the Golden Girls now also, and what's the Bruiser, is that the dog's name? Okay, Bruiser, and maybe getting the band out there or something like that to kind of spread it out throughout the day. So the way that we've got things going on now, the way that we're kind of envisioning them is something's happening here, and then as soon as this shuts off, something happens over here. You know, so we're gonna have the polka band over here while they're having a Taylor Swift dance party down here. So we don't have too many things going on, bleeding music and everything like that, because neither one of those things will be very loud. And then, of course, we're gonna have a couple of bands coming in later in the day. They are more of your 80s, 70s and 80s type stuff. The last band here, actually, I think that's the band that's been out the amphitheater before, is that right? Tribal?
No, we have not had a tribal.
Oh, you have? Okay, that was the other band, I apologize. But Tripolar plays more today's music. And they're gonna close down the end of the amphitheater, which we're still shutting it down at 6 o'clock. And we're gonna hopefully push people out to Fat Boys or Conrad's or even Walnut Creek at that time. But that's everything with that event, so, for now. Now, that is saying that if a few of these things don't come in because we're too late or something, we'll simply have to back those off and do those next year. But we are taking care of the record keeping and everything that you all need to see so that we can be crystal clear with everything we're trying to bring to town. That's all I got on that one. Do you want me to go to the second one?
Yes, please.
All right. The second one is Halloween Blast. Have you all been to Halloween Blast or anything like that? You know what that is? Okay, it's a really ramped up trunk or treat. That's what it's been in the past. This last one was not near as well attended as the other ones, being that Halloween is on the same night that we're having it. It was on the 31st. So that really pulled back some of our kiddos and everything like that. What we envision is that everybody will come back this year, you know, because they know what's going on out there. But with Halloween Blast, we're gonna keep the things where there's trunk or treats around and everything like that. But we're going to try to step it up a little bit this year. And within that, if you go to, I can't even find out where it goes now. But what we're gonna try to do, have you guys ever seen the movie Halloween Town? It's a kiddos movie, it's a kids movie, right? That's what I want to turn Halloween Blast into, is where, and we've got them in here, you know, guys and gals on stilts, you know, dressed up, magicians running around, jugglers running around. We're gonna have face painting. It's more of like a 2 to 3 hour community event, just in a pocket of time, and then everybody kind of goes their own way. But I want it to feel like we're using the whole park and everything, instead of just having, you know, some stuff over here, some stuff over here, where we'd have the actual people walking around doing things. But that's the idea, and as you can see, the budget came off dramatically from that one. So we're looking for 11 grand on that one. And as I said, if we get to a point where some of these people cannot attend because they've been booked for some other event or something like that, we'll kind of go with that the way that we need to. But I just wanted to show you guys, and I hope you guys, I know you guys respect it, or, we just want to give you more information than we've done in the past. That's our goal. And the next time you'll see me will be to come up here to talk about Magical Night. So, but yeah, so we're requesting 49,000 for Jim Bach Memorial Oktoberfest, the 15th annual, and then 11,000 for Halloween Blast 2026.
The total says 44.
49.
It says 44. For Oktoberfest.
Oktoberfest is $44,040.
So they revised the budget after the agenda on Friday after.
Yes.
And submitted it after the agenda packet had been, posted.
Okay, 'cause I was looking for that.
I'm sorry, I have the updated one.
I was like, I'm not reading 44.
What's that?
I was like, I'm reading 44.
Yeah, it was.
I apologize, I've got the updated one.
That's all
The
right.
updated one does take a little bit of insurance in. We still don't have the exact cost back on that, because I know we've all been talking with them about finalizing, because we have to go up to 4, is that correct? Yeah, and we did not have 4 million.
Jason, I appreciate both your reports. I really appreciate that you and your board, one of the things that really stands out to me is both events are free to the public. So I appreciate you guys listening to our ask there as well.
That's, well, kind of like we talked about when the first time I came by. That's what we want to do, is we'd rather play with you all in the same sandbox than us doing events out there that you guys can't fund because we're charging individuals or you know, whatever it might be. So that is our goal as a board and everything, of both the senior center and the Kearney and Richmond Council.
Any questions from the board on Mr. Hoyt's presentation? And so tonight's just a presentation, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for being here.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate all you and your board do.
Thank you.
We'll move on to open public comments. Is there any resident that would wish to address the board this evening under open public comments? Before we move on, I do want to just make sure it's part of the record. Jason Parrott, a resident, he was not able to be here this evening, but he did drop off a packet of information to both myself, each one of the board members individually, and the city administrator. We all did receive them. So I just wanted to make sure that that was read in as well. And if there's nobody else this evening, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Does the board have any items of discussion or questions on the consent agenda this evening? Seeing none, if we can entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I do want to just read that obviously approval of the consent agenda this evening did include the 75th annual Labor Day races. So Connie Crawford's here. She's also our park board president, but she also represented the Optimist Club. Connie, it's from 8 to noon, always right down here on Washington Street.
It's not from 8 to noon, but they need setup and breakdown time.
So tell us a little bit about the time then. What time does the event start?
It starts at 10.
10, okay. So the event starts at 10, 75th year anniversary. It's a lot of fun. I always attended the event when I was a kid, growing up here in Kearney. So I appreciate all that you and the Optimist Club and your volunteers do to make sure that that tradition continues.
We're happy to do it.
All right, thank you for being here. We'll move on to ordinances this evening. First ordinance this evening is a motion approving bill number 42, 2026, presented by David Pavlich, our Community Development Director. An ordinance amending Chapter 400 of the Municipal Code, the comprehensive zoning regulations of Kearney, Missouri, rezoning approximately 9.828 acres along the north side of West 92 Highway between Nation Road and Victory Lane to RP3 medium-density residential plan district for the Westbrook Commons project as requested by Mako Development Company. David?
Yes, I do have some comments. So this is a proposed rezoning from commercial district to RP3 medium density residential plan district for a 42 unit senior housing garden apartment complex. So one level apartment complex. The P&Z recommended approval with conditions. One of the conditions including that access for the property be compliant with MoDOT approval. MoDOT did, as commented, I think the plan shows 2 entrances. They wanted one of those entrances removed. They're also looking at additional potential for a turn lane. But there will be a future site plan that will come to the board at a later date when they go to propose. So this is a rezoning, not the site plan.
David, I didn't see in there that MoDOT did a traffic study. Did they do an actual traffic count
They
study?
did,
I didn't see one either.
no, but MoDOT was doing an analysis of this particular project, and they came back and asked there be additional analysis as it relates to potential turn lane, so.
At a later date?
Yes, so, before a site plan will come before, if it was approved tonight, before a site plan will come to the board, that site plan would include any additional requirements that MoDOT would have. This is the rezoning. And then, at the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, there were a couple of conditions that were added by the Planning and Zoning Commission. One of those, that there be deed restriction for the 55 plus, which is the intent of the project. And then that the sidewalk clearly showed that they would extend to the east and west property lines as part of their project. The applicant acknowledged those and agreed to those conditions, and it was approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission. And approval was recommended based on the P&Z recommendation of approval.
Alderman Lehman, or liaison to the Planning and Zoning Commission, do you have anything to add?
Lots of discussion at P&Z. Like David said, the entrance is down to 1 instead of 2. So that takes care of some of the issues, and the sidewalks have been extended at P&Z's request, so.
So these are 41 units, correct? Are there
42 units.
42?
Yep, and then also community building.
Okay, so 42 units. Are these all 1 bedroom, or are they?
They're 2 bedroom.
They're all 2 bedroom, okay. Just trying to think of what type of density we're talking about for this.
Yeah, Dan
piece of
Sanders can comment on those, but typically they'll be a 2-unit apartment, but typically there's 1 person that lives there. So they have a bedroom and then a hobby room or something like that. But the applicant can share with you what they experience at their other 2 locations.
How many units we got down there by Dollar General?
I think it's 42.
Yeah, that's what I thought,
42
about
to
the same size.
46, something like that.
Yes, it is 2 bedroom, but Eastwood and Oak Ridge are all 2 bedroom also. Most seniors now, because they're downsizing anyway, they need that 2nd bedroom for some extra furniture, a sewing room. It's in really the demand anymore. It's for 2 bedrooms for senior apartments. And another thing, the restriction that the P&Z put on is these will be by restriction, by deed, 55 and over for all residents. That was also agreed to. And we did get comments back from MoDOT. They are not requiring a full traffic study. They will only require a memorandum of projected trip generation.
Any other questions from the board to staff or the applicant?
How long are our waiting lists at our current sites? Does
2
anyone
years.
happen to 2
Yeah,
years?
we just had a lady in our church that got in one, and she said we had to wait 2 years.
Dan, you, at the P and Z, you talked about the waiting list at what was your take on that?
Currently, Oak Ridge has a waiting list of 75 people waiting for apartments. We put at 43. These 42 units will be filled the day we open them. That's the demand in Kearney.
All right, seeing no other questions from the board, if we could read the proposed ordinance first reading by title only, please.
An ordinance amending Chapter 400 of the Municipal Code, the Comprehensive Zoning Regulations of Kearney, Missouri, rezoning approximately 9.828 acres along the north side of West 92 Highway between Nation Road and Victory Lane to RP3 Medium Density Residential Plan District for the Westbrook Commons Project, as requested by Mako Development Company.
Move to approve on first reading.
All right, we have a motion on the first reading to put it to a vote. Do we have a second?
There does need to be a motion so that they can be voted on.
Yeah, we got it first. I'm just waiting for a second.
There's not gonna be a traffic study?
David?
Will be what MoDOT requests and requires, so
Yeah, Mr. Miller just said that MoDOT says they're not gonna do a traffic study.
if MoDOT didn't request a traffic study, then they'll review it without a traffic study. They're still, they do have a review, they did submit to MoDOT to seek comments, and so MoDOT has been submitting comments.
And this is just approving zoning, right? Not the project.
Yes, RP3 zoning and concept plan. There still needs to be a site plan that will come back to you before they would construct the site.
All right, we have the first motion on the table. Do we have a second to put it to vote, or is the motion gonna die on the table?
You said down to one entrance. Do you know which one?
The east side.
The east side.
Farthest away from Victory Lane.
It's a tough one.
That's a tough one.
Please know if you make a second, you're not approving or disapproving, you're just making it so that a vote can be taken.
Or the board can make a decision by no second and it dies on the table. So at this point, I'm going to give the board one more opportunity to make a second motion. And seeing nothing move, it dies on the table. We'll move on to the next item. That is resolutions. First resolution this evening is a motion approving Resolution 65, 2026, presented by Sunday Hayes, our Deputy City Clerk. A resolution approving and adopting the special event information permit application and agreement form to establish procedures and requirements for special events held within the city of Kearney, Missouri. Sunday?
Thank you. Tonight, staff is asking the board to adopt a standardized process for special events that provides consistency while allowing requirements to scale based on the size and complexity of an event. The process is designed to address public safety concerns in advance, including traffic, emergency access, security, medical needs, and coordination with city departments. It also establishes insurance requirements for larger events, with the city named as an additional insured. Finally, for recurring events, the initial event receives the appropriate level of review and board approval. Once an event has been approved, consecutive occurrences can be processed administratively rather than requiring the same board approval each time, while still allowing staff to address changes or safety concerns. If approved, staff will begin using this process for special event requests.
Great. Thank you for that report. Are there any questions from the board on the presentation of the resolution? All right. We can entertain a motion approving Resolution 65, 2026, a resolution approving and adopting a special event information permit application and agreement form to establish procedures and requirements for special events held within the city of Kearney, Missouri.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is unanimously approved. Next item this evening is a motion approving Resolution 66, 2026, presented by Eric Marshall, our Parks and Recreation Director. A resolution approving an agreement between Evans Midland Empire Shows, Inc. and the city of Kearney, Missouri. Eric?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Alderman members. The resolution before you approves, if so voted upon, a carnival to come to town from, Evans Midland Empire Shows. This would be held September 25th through the 27th. And location, after walking the site with Andrew Evans last Thursday, would be held at the corner of 33 and 19th Street. There is some incidental costs to the city that we hope to recoup in the contract, that we would receive 12% back from the gross receipts from wristband sales, such as the dumpsters, toilets, electricity, trash, and insurance purposes. So there is a contract before you. We'd like to see a carnival come to town, and we think it's a great reputable carnival that would like to come because they love the site.
Great. Any questions from the board on the proposed resolution?
I believe there's a scrivener's error on the resolution. Should be 66 instead of 65.
I corrected it in the mayor's copy, and since it's okay on the agenda, we think we're fine.
Great.
Thank you for catching that, David.
If we entertain a motion approving Resolution 66, 2026, a resolution approving an agreement between Evans Midland Empire Shows, Inc. and the city of Kearney, Missouri.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is approved unanimously. We'll move on to the July monthly financial report.
So we've made it through a third of our year, and we are continuing to watch a few things very closely. I just want to make a few notes, and then I'll answer any questions that you guys might have. But cemetery expenditures require a budget amendment because of the tornado this spring, and that was actually on the consent agenda this evening that you approved. Then also, use tax revenues are down about 12% from fiscal year 26, almost $71,000. We actually made up some ground this month, almost $20,000. So last month we were more down. So we are going in the right direction. Marijuana sales tax revenues continue to be affected by the dispensary closing earlier this year. Sales tax overall is up about 6% year-to-date over fiscal year 26. And those are the things I'm really watching. We can control our expenses, but we can't really control the revenues that are coming in. And so right now, what we do is we really monitor those revenues so that we can adjust spending if we need to throughout the year. Anyone have any questions?
I do not.
Alderman Lehman, as board president, do you want to?
All right, we'll move on to item 7B, first quarter operation results.
All right. David is going to pull open.
Is it on here somewhere?
Yes.
Oh, there we go. I can't get it. No, it's on. It's, I think Ryan had it. Let's see, here we go.
Perfect, and I'll just kick us off with City Hall. So the first quarter of fiscal year 27 was very busy for City Hall, significantly busier than the same period last year. IT completed 232 help tickets, a 48% increase, mostly because of the police department's GTAC automated virtual location project. Since the project was completed in July, we expect help ticket volume to return to more typical levels in second quarter. Economic activity also remains strong. City Hall issued 80 new business licenses, a 74% increase over last year. Much of that increase was driven by vendors supporting Market at the Park and the World Cup Watch Party, along with contractors working on projects throughout the community. Public engagement also continued to grow. Staff responded to 26 sunshine requests, a 63% increase compared to first quarter fiscal year 26. Not every metric increased. We sold 66.2 million gallons of water during first quarter fiscal year 27, about 2.4% lower than last year. And delinquent utility shutoffs dropped from 55 to 33, a 45.5% decrease. This is a good example of how consistency improves outcomes. By following our adopted policies every month, we've changed customer behavior. Fewer residents are experiencing shutoffs because more people are paying before they reach that point. That's better for residents and improves the city's cash flow while reducing the staff time required to complete shutoffs and restorations. We didn't complete any formal business retention visits compared to 3 during first quarter last year. This wasn't because economic development slowed. Instead, staff intentionally shifted resources to support the city's World Cup Watch Party. Sometimes operational success means adapting resources to support the city's highest priorities. City Hall continued to make progress on several fiscal year 27 priorities. This quarter, we invested 76.5 hours in training and professional development, launched the new city website and report a problem platform, completed the 2026 National Community Survey, improved and launched the police department promotion process, continued Culture Amp and annual review training, migrated city domain controllers, continued to work through the SRF financing process, brought Market at the Park to Lions Park, and hosted a World Cup watch party right here at home. Nearly every one of these projects required collaboration across multiple departments. Very few of our successes happen because of one person or one department. They happen because employees across departments contributed their time, expertise, and effort. Looking ahead to next quarter, our momentum will continue. Major initiatives include completing the bond sale that will fund the Nation Road waterline extension, the city facility improvements, and refinance the water tower debt. Advancing the City Hall security, ADA, and public meeting space improvements, and the museum improvements. Continuing implementation of the RSA offline access for the police department and the Munis VPS-less environment for all users. Launching Kearney's first citywide garage sale, completing a new developer guidebook to help making investing in Kearney even easier, and educating residents about the November public safety sales tax election. This sales tax will help ensure that we are able to support our officers while they support our community. City Hall expenditures were 35.3% of the budget at the end of first quarter. Although it appears that we are ahead of where we should be, the variance is driven by several planned one-time expenditures that occurred in first quarter, including settlement of a legal judgment, a retirement payout, and annual insurance work comp and liability premiums. These expenditures were anticipated, continue to be monitored, and City Hall remains on solid financial footing.
Thank you.
All right, who's next?
I get to do
Shannon.
So budget to actual at the end of this quarter was 30% for the municipal court, which is mostly due to spring conference for the judge and court clerk hitting in the first quarter. There were a total of 1,090 cases on the dockets. The number of cases on the docket decreased 34% compared to the same quarter last year because last year the court was still working to clean up the case backlog from prior years. There were 404 new cases filed in first quarter and 5 court sessions. Of these cases, 52 were dismissed and 323 resulted in guilty pleas. We issued 102 warrants and recalled 92. This was a 71% decrease compared to the same timeframe last year, again due to the case backlog the court was working through last year. There were 149 summonses issued this quarter. The court implemented bond payouts this quarter on failure to appear warrants. If the defendant has a payable offense, they can pay the fine and sign a guilty plea when bonding out to close the case and avoid another court date. This will help reduce the number of repeat failure to appears and reduce docket numbers. The court also continues to work on closing cases in the legacy system. They began 2026 with over 1,100 cases still open and are now down to less than 600 cases, with a goal of having everything out by the end of calendar year 2026.
David Pavlich for Community Development Department. Past quarter, we issued 107 building permits totaling $16.6 million in investment. It's a big change from the year before where we issued 67 permits for $7.6 million. Increase in the number of permits was primarily due to commercial sign permits, residential decks, and fence permits. So just some miscellaneous permits and commercial activity. You know, we've got some businesses either updating their signs or new businesses that are new to town. New commercial construction activity included Hoffman Custom Homes and the Fulfillment House in Innovation. Both are under construction. AutoZone and Chipotle, which everyone sees is under construction out front of Price Chopper, and the new Columns apartment building on North Jefferson, which will add 24 apartments to the city. Now, these 5 projects account for $6.9 million of that investment. Another $6.5 million came from 13 new single-family house permits. We issued 2 permits for houses valued at over $1 million, and then another one just under $900,000. If we take those out, the average though was around $380,000. So actually steadily has increased over the last several years. Houses have gotten a little bit bigger and more expensive here in the city. We also performed 441 inspections, which was a 19% increase over last year at this time. We have responded to significantly fewer code compliance incidents, 106 compared to 153 last year. We think, or at least we hope, that it's because of the efforts over the last year on code compliance that we're not seeing as many this year. And we think that might be the case because the community survey showed an increase in customer satisfaction and code compliance of 41 to 50%. So we think we're still doing good things even though we didn't see as many compliance issues. 64 dog licenses were issued and we picked up 18 dogs during the period, and all 18 of those dogs were returned home within 24 hours, which is a goal of ours. We processed 9 applications through Planning and Zoning Commission, which included final plats for Jamestown Estates replat next to the Kearney Elementary School, and the Wilkerson Farm first plat, which is where the fire station will be located. Site plans included the new fire station site plan, LDS Church Edition on 19th Street, and Fulfillment House, new construction and innovation, and then a code amendment establishing material and design requirements for commercial and industrial buildings. Over the next quarter, our goals include dog kennel improvements so we don't have to rely on boarding when the weather's too hot or too cold, continue to work on the developer guidebook, and additional work on streamlining building permit processes as it relates to application forms, updating the website so it's a little bit easier to maneuver, and then pre-approved building plans.
Okay. Who's up next?
Thank you, Board. Quarter 1, 2026 compared to quarter 1, 2027, there was 11% decrease in calls for service, 173% increase in vehicle accidents. There's been a 10% increase in traffic stops, 28% decrease in citations issued, 12% increase in police reports, 23% increase in arrests, and 16% increase in detective caseloads. A few updates. Kearney officers assisted in the capture of a Clay County top 10 most wanted at a local hotel. Officers were supplied with new medical kits for every single patrol vehicle. The department upgraded the police radios, which has been a major safety concern. The previous radios that we had multiple dead spots throughout the city in different buildings that would not allow officers to talk on the radio when they needed it the most. I completed the executive management program through Northwestern University. Captain John Stewart retired from the City of Kearney Police Department after serving 37 years in law enforcement. Kearney Police Department's hired 3 new officers, Officer Tad Bradshaw, Bryce Minter, and Officer Kyle Fulkerson returns as a part-timer. He currently works with the State of Missouri Liquor Control. And then we've also implemented a building check notice, leaving building check forms on local businesses when the officers check in at nighttime.
Thank you, sir.
Eric Marshall for the Parks Department. We currently have 3 full-time staff. Part-time employee is Jeff Anderson. And we had 2 seasonal employees this summer, Cale Davis and Marcos Barbosa. Cale will leave us as he heads to college this week. Marcos will still work for the Park Department. However, he will be under the Public Works part-time hours. We had 24 hours of overtime in the first quarter due to weekend sports activities and movies in the park. Our park maintenance, we mowed 45 hours more this quarter from last year at this time due to the timing of the spring rain. We cut out our contract mowing again this year for both Lions and Mac Porter Park. And we cut and removed 14 trees, 30 less than last year at this time, as we were lucky and we didn't have the tornado hit the park, so we were lucky on that. Again, this quarter, the number of trash was dumped was extremely high, and that includes the pickleball and skate parks as well. 695 in a 3-month period, and ironically, that's exactly the same as it was last year at this time. And we continue to pick up the pet waste stations along the trails. Excuse me. We had 3 playground inspections this past quarter. Midwest Public Risk conducted another walkthrough audit with Ray and myself, and everything was found to be in compliance. Our fields and parks were prepared for our practices and league games, including dragging, chalking, spray painting the soccer fields, and of course, we chemical sprayed for those lovely dandelions. There were 4 incidents of vandalism within the parks this past spring, which is a sad number. Our budget to actual right now is 35.2 compared to last year at this time of 25.8. However, we have a high percentage of our startup expenses early in the fiscal year. And this year, all but 1 capital project is purchased and or completed, including our John Deere Gator, new soccer goals, our AED systems, and both culverts were replaced at Mac Porter Park and Jesse James Park. As mentioned about our leagues, we had a successful spring season, but we did have many days of makeup games due to the timing of the rains. Our youth participants were 569 compared to 558 this quarter from last year. Our pickleball spring leagues had 372 participants compared to 394 adult participants last year for a total of 952. This is a decrease of 11 total participants from all sports last year. We had 39 of the 49 shelters reserved were in Lions Park, and we opened the Splash Park on Memorial Day weekend, so we had 5 weeks of shelter rentals, mainly on Saturdays and Sundays. However, we were down 14 shelter reservations and had to give those back due to cancellations from the rain. However, we did have 12 ball field reservations and pickleball court reservations, unlike last year. For community events, the City of Kearney hosted the World Cup watch party in Jesse James Park, and we had a concert immediately following. We hosted 2 food and flicks Friday movies in the park in Lions Park, and provided support for the market in the park on Thursdays on First Street. Looking ahead this quarter, Hall Park, this project is finally under contract with the fitness equipment has already been delivered to us, and construction is to commence mid-September. This grant is a 50-50 grant, $1 million project split with the Land and Water Conservation Fund. And a pre-construction meeting has been set for Thursday, August 27th here at City Hall. And a groundbreaking ceremony, which I emailed to you last week, will be held Tuesday, September 8th from 5 to 6 p.m. at the Hall Park site, which is 507 South Prospect. And that will be prior to your next Board of Aldermen meeting. This last Friday, we hosted our last Flicks and Food Trucks in Lions Park as we showed the Superman movie at dusk. And I'd like to thank Constantino's Price Chopper of Kearney and Radiant Life Church for the total sponsorship of those movies. We'll have our Fall Kids Day in the park on Saturday, October 17th at Jesse James Park from 1 to 4 p.m. Our Fall Youth Sports sign-ups have concluded and rosters have been sent to the coaches this week. Fall pickleball sign-ups go through the end of August. A reminder that the annual Jesse James Festival is the second and third weekends of September as we prepare the entire Jesse James Park to assist with that community event. And I have been attending the Jesse James Festival meetings when they are scheduled. And I can say this now, September 25, 26, and 27th, we will be bringing a carnival to town that was just approved by you all. So we're excited about that. And last week I sent you a preliminary information in the weekly update from the Lions Club International regarding the grant application, and we will receive a formal email within a couple of weeks. Thank you.
Been busy. All right. You're up again.
I'm up again. The first quarter of fiscal year 27, we had 16 hours removing old, dead, or dying plants and flowers around all the grave sites to get that cleaned up, those cleaned up. We're taking varying sections of the cemetery, trimming up those grave sites, and we spent 10 hours accomplishing this. We also spent 6 hours tilling graves and adding dirt to level off some of those grave sites. 16 graves were marked in the first quarter and 9 graves were sold. We spent 19 hours either resetting entire gravestones or the decorative pieces on the graves from settling or due to the spring storm. A total of 44 trips to the cemetery in quarter one was made either for the items listed above or for trash removal and picking up debris, limbs, and that type of stuff. Our budget to actuality was really high this quarter compared to last year at this time, as we were at 70.98% due to the spring storm that rolled through and snapping 6 of the very large trees that had to be completely cut down and removed from the cemetery, and Mitchell Tree Service did that because we just don't have the equipment for that. We were lucky that there was only minor damage to the graves and repairs were done to rectify that situation.
Very good.
Next, Public Works. The department issued 8 right-of-way permits and managed 25 active contracts. Operational accomplishments included the delivery or removal of 86 solid waste containers and the mapping of 1,884 GIS data points, resulting in more than 21,823 database views. The department opened the fiscal year at 27% budget to actual. Staff also completed 62 hours of professional training. Looking ahead to next quarter, priorities include starting the construction of the Nation Road and the Kearney Westside CID water lines, as well as the advertisement of the Park Street water line replacement project. For transportation, the department has moved into the right-of-way acquisition phase for the 19th Street Complete Street project, finalizing preliminary plans for the Pathways project, and is moving forward with the construction of the Lions Park Ped Crossing on Route 33. Additionally, the department received a grant from the Missouri Coalition of Highway Safety to purchase a rapid flashing beacon for the 19th Street crossing at Stone Lake Drive and submitted 2 mark applications for grants for the proposed Nation Road Complete Street project. The Water Department The water treatment plant operated for 1,359 hours and staff conducted 8,191 treatment tests and 47 distribution system tests. The department treated 59 gallons of raw water compared with 25 million gallons during the same period last year, and purchased 35 million gallons of water, down from 74 million gallons during the same period last year. This change was due to the plant being down for construction last year for the basin rehabilitation project. Routine maintenance activities include operating 671 valves and flushing 355 fire hydrants, a significant increase resulting from the implementation of an annual flushing program. Staff replaced 20 water meters and installed 28 new meters for new construction. Staff also responded to 735 utility locate requests. The department opened the fiscal year at 23.7 budget to actual and recorded 34.5 overtime hours and 69 training hours. Looking ahead, the department is advertising the Clearwell Sill project and working to contract the ground storage tank rehabilitation project. And we also completed the construction of a new water tower on Watson Drive, which included adding the lighting and all the punch list items. Staff will also continue their annual hydrant flushing program after Labor Day.
All right, next.
The wastewater department treated 95 million gallons of wastewater through the plant and UV system and produced 228 tons of sludge. The plant operated at approximately 93% of plant capacity due to wet weather conditions, resulting in an increase in flow and infiltration. Operationally, staff inspected 72 lift stations, conducted 66 lid inspections, and performed 1,338 laboratory tests. Department opened the fiscal year at 17.2 budget to actual and recorded 39.5 overtime hours and 52 training hours. Entering the second quarter, the facility plan for the proposed expansion of the wastewater treatment facility has been submitted to DNR for review and approval. Crews will also begin their annual maintenance of the equipment. Next.
Who's next?
Next.
David.
It's me, okay. Next is the street department.
He's trying to get it, I think.
Crews completed 20 hours of street sweeping, 150 hours of roadway beautification, and 453 hours of mowing and weed eating. The department placed 25.5 tons of asphalt for patching, compared with 3 tons during the first quarter of last year. A large portion of the work consisted of pavement repairs on streets that were scheduled to be microsurfaced by the contractor this summer. The department replaced 406 linear feet of sidewalk, which was down from last year, largely due to wet weather, pavement repair work that we completed, and due to staffing shortages. Stormwater maintenance included 80 feet of ditching, and we responded to 3 weather-related events. The department logged 8.25 overtime hours and completed their training this quarter. The department utilized 15% of its annual budget, which was lower than anticipated due to the reduced staffing levels. Looking ahead for second quarter, the 2026 street maintenance project and striping work will be completed. Priority efforts will continue to include sidewalk replacements, routine mowing, and street sweeping. And the department will also actively work to fill their 2 vacancies.
All right. Is that it, or do we know?
That's it.
A few technical issues there. All right, we're gonna move on to item number 9, city administrator's report.
So there is a long list of fun events and things that people can do. We're going to have our last amphitheater concert. We're down to our final days of Market at the Park. So I hope you guys can make it if you haven't. And we are taking signups for our first annual citywide garage sale that is scheduled for Saturday, October 3rd, from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. The city will advertise that, so it's free to sign up, and so I hope people will. And then we also are looking forward to the next meeting. That will be September 8th at 6:30 p.m. And the Hall Park groundbreaking, as Eric mentioned, will be right before that, so.
All right, we'll move on to Alderman discussion. Alderman King,
I don't have anything tonight.
Alderman Holt,
I don't either.
Alderman Spencer.
I guess I'll follow trend.
Wow.
Don't have anything either.
All right, and I will be last in the fact that we've got lots of things going on. All park ground breaking that we talked about. It's exciting to see the first ever citywide garage sale that's been asked for a long time, so it's fun to finally see it happening. And I just want to say how lucky we are to have a radio station of our own in a town our size. It's neat to have that station here, so I know they're not here, but it's great to have them. So we have an executive session noticed up, and pursuant to RSMO 610.021, Section 1, for legal actions or litigation involving a public governmental body and any confidential or privileged communication between a public governmental body or its representatives and its attorneys, and RSMO 610.021, subsection 12, to discuss matters pertaining to negotiated contracts. Just a reminder, the meeting will be adjourned from the closed session. I would consider a motion to move into executive session.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Roll call vote.
Alderman Spencer,
Aye.
Alderman Holt,
Aye.
Alderman King.
Aye.
Do you vote Alderman Lehman?
Yes.
Yes.
Alderman Lehman.
Yes. All right, we are adjourned.